Audio.
If you enjoy the stories on this podcast, you'll also like the stories in my book, Filmmaking Confidential, which isn't just for filmmakers, but also all artists and really any entrepreneur. Now an Amazon.com and Audible.com bestseller. I just want to say thank you to all of you who ordered it. If you haven't yet picked it up, it's available wherever books are sold in most countries around the world. To find out more, check out filmmakingconfidential.com and stevebalderson.com. And thank you. I'm Steve Balderson, and you're listening to the Filmmaking Confidential podcast. In every episode, we meet with filmmakers, writers, actors, artists, and other notables. Today, I'll be reading from my newest book, Accessing Creativity: Unlock Your Inner Genius. Chapter 4: Beyond Judgment. Here's the thing. Judgment is a construct. It doesn't actually exist. Not in the way you think it does. Take a moment to pause and really ponder this as you read. What we think of as the very fabric of evaluating our experiences is but a construct. Not a tangible entity, not a definitive state of being, but a construct, shaped by society, culture, and our individual upbringing. In reality, there is no intrinsic good or bad, right or wrong. There's only what exists in the moment, the undeniable what is, not the subjective what should be. This stark realization anchors us in the present, stripping away layers of expectation and conjecture. Because truthfully, we don't really know what should be. We are aware of what has happened, and we can predict what might likely happen based on past events. But the notion of what should happen is a projection, a guess laden with our hopes, biases, and cultural conditioning. When we say, what should be, we're often talking about an ideal state envisioned through the lens of personal or societal values, a state that might never align with the complex, often chaotic reality of what is. This divide between our expectations and reality can lead to frustration and dissatisfaction. Acknowledging that we don't really know what should happen liberates us from these burdens. It allows us to approach life with openness and curiosity, ready to engage with whatever comes our way without preconceived notions. Expanding on this concept, imagine navigating life like a river flows, moving around obstacles, adapting to the terrain, and being present in every twist and turn. This approach doesn't force a predefined path, but responds organically to the environment. It's about being responsive rather than fixed, embracing the natural course of events rather than imposing our will on them. This philosophy doesn't mean we give up on making plans or setting goals, but it does mean we hold these plans loosely, ready to adapt as reality unfolds. It invites us to be more like observers and less like controllers, recognizing that while we play a role in shaping our journey, we are not the sole authors of our story. Life is a co-creation with countless other forces, influences, and beings, each adding their note to the symphony of existence. By focusing on what is, instead of what should be, we engage more deeply with the true essence of life, unfiltered and unrestrained by our expectations. Now, envision a tree. Imagine one standing tall and lean, its branches reaching skyward, leaves fluttering in the gentle breeze. Nearby, another tree, stout and sprawling, its limbs gnarled and twisted from years of weathering storms. Neither of these trees can be objectively classified as good or bad. They are simply existing, fulfilling their roles in the ecosystem. They offer shelter, produce oxygen, and add complexity to the landscape. Much like the varied species in a forest, each element in our world, including songs, paintings, films, and books, exists simply as it is. By observing the intricate balance and harmony of nature, we can gain valuable insights into our own creative process and the potential that awaits when we free ourselves from the confines of judgment. In the natural world, life unfolds effortlessly and without evaluation. Trees, plants, and animals follow the rhythm of the seasons, guided by an inherent wisdom that requires no conscious thought or judgment. A tree does not judge itself for losing its leaves in autumn, nor does a flower compare itself to its neighbors in the garden. They simply exist, their growth and development guided by the forces of nature and the wisdom of their own innate design. Similarly, ecosystems do not distinguish between good or bad species. Each organism plays a role in maintaining balance, even those that we might consider harmful or destructive from our limited human perspective. From this vantage point, nature teaches us that everything has a purpose, and that our judgments about what is good or bad, right or wrong, are merely reflections of our subjective human experience. When we embrace the wisdom of nature, we begin to see the inherent beauty and value in all things, including ourselves and our creative endeavors. We learn to appreciate the uniqueness of our individual expression and the role it plays in the larger scope of life. As we shift our perspective from one of judgment to one of observation, and maybe even appreciation, we open ourselves to the possibilities that arise when we let go of our preconceived notions and expectations. The wisdom of the natural world reminds us that there is no absolute standard of success or failure, no definitive measure of artistic worth or validity. When we approach creativity with the same non-judgmental openness and curiosity that defines nature, we create a solid foundation. This frees us up to explore our boundless potential. Nature is a beautiful and continuous dance of transformation. Diversity is the rule, not the exception. Every species, individual, and environment is uniquely tailored to its particular niche, creating a web of interconnected and interdependent life. Recognizing this, we can learn to celebrate our own unique gifts and creative expressions without comparing ourselves to others or deeming our creations unworthy. Nature is a complex web of relationships, with countless species engaging in mutualistic partnerships to ensure their collective survival. From pollinators to decomposers, these relationships highlight the importance of collaboration, as opposed to competition and judgment. Embracing the spirit of cooperation in our creative endeavors, we can form supportive networks that uplift and inspire us, rather than tearing ourselves and others down through judgment and comparison. Life in the natural world is dynamic and ever-changing, with organisms constantly adapting to shifting conditions. This inherent resilience serves as a powerful reminder of our own capacity to evolve in the face of adversity. Nature unfolds in the present moment, free from the constraints of time or expectation. By observing the innate presence of nature, we learn to release judgment and embrace the here and now, fully engaging with our creative process without becoming entangled in worries about the future or regrets of the past. As we internalize these observations, we develop a more profound understanding of our own creative potential and nurture a mindset that allows our innate talents to prosper. The essence of a song is an arrangement of notes and rhythms, yet its impact can be profound. A melody might evoke nostalgia, a rhythm could energize, but the song itself remains just a series of sounds. It doesn't change. It is our personal experiences and the context in which we hear it that shape our perception of its value. What if we viewed all music this way, not as good or bad, but as expressions of art that reflect the complexity of human emotion and creativity? Now, think about a film. Each movie is a collection of scenes, each frame a brushstroke in a larger picture. Some films might be crafted with the intention to inspire, others to entertain, frighten, cause laughter, or provoke thought. Yet, a film is just that, a series of images and sounds, irrespective of our judgment. Whether a film is perceived as good or bad is more about our own lenses, formed by personal tastes, experiences, and expectations, than about the film itself. And what about us, as human beings? Like the diverse forms of art, each person is a unique composition of thoughts, emotions, and experiences. We often rush to label ourselves and others, fitting complex personalities into neat boxes of good or bad. But these labels are superficial. They overlook the depth of character, the intricate blend of qualities that make each person who they are. Imagine if we approached life without this habit of judgment. If we observed the world and its citizens just as they are, without the need to categorize or rate them, what freedom might we find? This is not to say we ignore discernment. Understanding our preferences is crucial. But there is a profound difference between preference and judgment. Preferences discerns without attachment. Judgment attaches without discerning. In freeing ourselves from the weight of judgment, we open ourselves to a broader spectrum of experience and understanding. We begin to appreciate the beauty in the unconventional, the wisdom in the atypical, and the lessons hidden in what we might have once dismissed. This, in its essence, is the art of true perception, an unfiltered appreciation of what is, without the cloud of what should be. Each of us has the potential to see the world through this lens of clear perception, where every moment is an opportunity to experience life in its purest form. This journey of understanding isn't just about seeing things as they are, but about letting go of the need for them to be anything else. In this space, where judgment dissolves, what remains is the raw beauty of existence itself. When a lion kills a goat for dinner, we don't think the lion a murderer. It's simply fulfilling its natural role in the ecosystem. It's a lion being a lion, doing what it must to survive. The act is not good or bad, it just is. Now, when we shift this perspective to human behavior, things become more complex. When a person commits an act of violence, such as murder, the immediate societal response is to label this individual as bad or wrong. While it's crucial to recognize the severity and the moral implications of such acts, and not to condone them, it's equally important to understand them. Labeling someone a murderer doesn't address the underlying factors that led to their actions. Instead, it simply categorizes them, often ending the conversation before it can begin to explore the deeper issues at play. The concept of what constitutes a murderer can also vary significantly across different cultures and legal definitions. Consider the debates surrounding issues like abortion, where one side may view it as murder while the other does not. These variations show how deeply subjective and culturally embedded our judgments can be. If the notion that judgment is merely a construct challenges you deeply, making it seem like an insurmountable part of your worldview, then perhaps the approach to take is one of transcending judgment. If completely abandoning judgment feels too radical, consider instead setting it aside deliberately. Imagine placing your judgments into a box. Store this box on a metaphorical shelf in your mind, not to throw it away, but to choose consciously when to engage with it and when to set it aside. This exercise is not about denying the role of judgment, but about recognizing its limits and choosing when and how to let it influence your life. By doing so, you can move beyond the automatic responses dictated by societal and cultural conditioning and explore a more creative and expansive way of engaging with the world. The goal here is not to discard judgment entirely, but to develop the flexibility to look beyond it. This way, you maintain the ability to return to judgment when necessary, but you're no longer bound by it. You free yourself to explore new ideas and possibilities, which is the essence of creativity. This is about expanding your consciousness, stepping into a realm where you can view the world and its complex moral landscape with a fresh perspective. This, in itself, can be a profound journey towards personal growth and understanding. Let's envision a world transcending judgment, where only preferences and observations guide our perceptions and interactions. Imagine the role of critics in such a world. Instead of assessing art through the lens of comparison or focusing on what might be lacking, critics would engage purely with the essence of what is presented. Their responses would not hinge on what a piece should be, according to external standards, but would appreciate what actually is. This shift would transform criticism from a practice of evaluation to one of exploration and discovery. Take, for example, my experience with war movies. Despite recognizing the craftsmanship involved, the genre's emphasis on violence and conflict doesn't resonate with me. Instead of dismissing these films outright, I shift my focus to aspects that do engage me, like the intricacies of costume design, the creativity of the art direction, or the precision of the sound engineering. These elements provide a gateway to appreciate the film beyond its genre. This approach isn't about labeling things as good or bad, but about engaging with them based on personal resonance. It's about preference. I prefer spy movies over war movies, not because one is inherently superior, but because the spy genre aligns more closely with what captivates me. If faced between choosing between two war movies, my decision would be influenced by elements like who directed it, what actors are in it, or who wrote the screenplay. If we all adopted this perspective of observing and engaging with the world as it is, free from the constraints of judgment, our interactions with art, cuisine, nature, and each other would be profoundly transformed. We would no longer be passive consumers, but active participants in our experiences, each bringing our unique perceptions and preferences to the forefront. This transformation would expand across all facets of life, enriching our relationships and deepening our understanding of ourselves. By prioritizing observation over judgment, we open ourselves to a richer spectrum of experiences, fostering a culture of acceptance and curiosity. This is more than just a theoretical shift. It's a practical approach to living more harmoniously with the diversity of the world around us. Non-judgmental awareness is a state of mind in which we observe our thoughts, emotions, and experiences without attaching labels, evaluations, good, bad, right, wrong, or comparisons to them. By practicing non-judgmental awareness, we can learn to witness the comings and goings of our judgments without getting entangled in them or allowing them to define our self-worth and creative potential. When we acknowledge that judgment is a construct and develop the capacity for non-judgmental awareness, we open the door to a new realm of creative freedom and self-expression. Freed from the constraints of judgment, we can embrace our authentic selves, explore new possibilities, and take risks that might have seemed unthinkable in the past. By dismantling our judgments, we can clear the way for a more expansive, liberating, and ultimately fulfilling creative journey. It is essential to practice self-compassion. Often, our harshest judgments are directed toward ourselves. By treating ourselves with kindness and understanding, we can more easily let go of the judgments that may be stifling our creative growth. Repeat after me. I am as I am. This is a lifelong practice, requiring patience, dedication, and a willingness to let go of deeply ingrained patterns of thought. The rewards of this practice are immense. By allowing our creativity to blossom, we unearth new insights and ideas that might have otherwise remained hidden beneath the weight of judgment. Practice radical acceptance. Fully embrace your thoughts, circumstances, experiences, and emotions without resistance or the need to change them. It is a practice that allows each of us to confront the realities of our lives with an open heart and mind, welcoming the entire spectrum of our human experience. Radical acceptance is not synonymous with passivity or resignation. Rather, it is an active choice to acknowledge and accept our present moment experiences, even when they are difficult or uncomfortable. To practice, try the following strategies. Recognize your resistance. When you notice feelings of judgment arising in response to a thought, emotion, or situation, pause and take a moment to simply acknowledge these sensations. This act of recognition can help you shift your perspective from one of resistance to one of acceptance. Observe your thoughts and emotions. Practice this from a place of curiosity and openness, without attaching them or trying to change them. Try asking, I wonder why I had that reaction. Or, isn't that an interesting thought? I wonder where that came from. And then, search for possibilities as to where it originated. As you become more skilled at observing what is, you may find that the intensity of negative thoughts and emotions begins to dissipate, making room for creative energy to flow. Embrace imperfection. Accept that perfection is an illusion, and that even the most accomplished artists and creators have experienced setbacks, failures, and imperfections. By embracing imperfection and letting go of the need to produce flawless work, you create a more conducive environment for authentic creativity to thrive. Practice gratitude. Focus on the aspects of your life for which you are grateful, rather than dwelling on perceived shortcomings or failures. Gratitude can help shift your perspective from one of deficiency to one of abundance and appreciation, which in turn can fuel your creative fire. Focus on what you want, not what you don't want. The art of radical acceptance is a powerful tool for nurturing creativity. By practicing it, we can cultivate a more authentic and inspired creative life, filled with meaning, purpose, and joy. An excerpt from the book, Accessing Creativity. One of my favorite guests from Season 1 is Marek Probosz, who co-stars in my new feature film, Love, Venezia.
When you create, you can get lost, you can hurt yourself. I don't know, you may trip, but this is your wound. You owned that time, and you will remember that, and as a result, you'll grow.
You can hear my full interview with Marek at filmmakingconfidential.com or by subscribing for free to this podcast. Love, Venezia is the closing night feature at Cinema Diverse, the Palm Springs Gay and Lesbian Film Festival, on September 29th, 2024. Tickets on sale now. Coming up, I'll read another chapter from Accessing Creativity. That's next, right after this. I'm Steve Balderson, and this is the Filmmaking Confidential podcast. I'm back with a special bonus episode reading from my new book, Accessing Creativity. Unlock your inner genius. Chapter 5. Limiting Beliefs. Limiting beliefs are not just mere thoughts. They are the invisible skeletons that shape our reality, deviously convincing us of our limitations, what we can and cannot achieve. Limiting beliefs color our perception. They narrow our view, often leaving us circling within confines of self-doubt and inadequacy. To reach absolute creativity, we must first identify these beliefs, question their validity, and transform them into perspectives that empower rather than confine us. A belief such as, "I'm not good enough," or "creativity is an innate talent reserved for the few," are not just passive thoughts. They actively shape our mental landscape. They build barriers that discourage us from reaching our full potential. They are the mental manifestations of judgment, casting shadows over our fundamental capabilities. However, if we approach these beliefs with curiosity, if we see them as mere preferences, formed by past experiences rather than absolute truths, we begin to loosen their grip on us. We start to see these beliefs as choices, preferences influenced by past feedback and societal norms rather than unchangeable truths. Where do these beliefs come from? They are often the echoes of childhood experiences, the remnants of where we grew up, the scars of past failures, or the shadows cast by authoritative figures. Feedback that once made us question our worth, societal expectations that set boundaries on our aspirations, all contribute to these limiting beliefs. By shifting our perspective from judgment to observation, from "I am limited by these beliefs" to "I observe that I hold these beliefs, but do I prefer to keep them?" we transform our internal dialogue. We move from a place of confinement to a place of choice. This shift is about recognizing that we are not bound by these beliefs unless we choose to be. We can then engage with our beliefs as we would with art, not judging them as good or bad, but experiencing them, understanding them, and deciding what role we want them to play in our lives. Just as we might choose between a comedy and a spy movie based on what resonates with our current mood or interests, we can choose which beliefs we want to empower and which we wish to discard. This approach is fundamentally about preference. It acknowledges that our beliefs shape our reality, and that by changing our preferences, by choosing beliefs that expand rather than restrict, we can unlock our creativity. It's about embracing the freedom to redefine our narrative. So, as we explore the landscapes of our mind, let's do so with the intention to observe, understand, and choose. Let's transform our limiting beliefs to limitless beliefs that align with our fullest expression. Let's pause to deeply consider our own beliefs. Reflect for a moment. How often have you convinced yourself that you aren't capable of achieving something? How frequently have you doubted your abilities based on past experiences or the opinions of others? It's intriguing to note that these beliefs, so deeply embedded within us, often don't register as mere beliefs. We mistake them for solid facts. Let's start with awareness. It calls for a gentle introspection and a commitment to honesty. Dedicate moments to reflect on your thoughts and actions. Observe any recurring patterns where self-doubt or negative self-talk exists. Pose a crucial question to yourself. What beliefs are fueling these thoughts? Document these thoughts. Whenever you face a challenge, write down your immediate reactions. This way, you can explore these beliefs that support those reactions. This not only externalizes your internal dialogues, but can also bring to light beliefs that lurk in the shadows. Sometimes, the mirror we hold up can reflect surprising aspects of ourselves. After documenting these limiting beliefs, the next step is to engage with them. Question their validity with healthy skepticism. Is there really undeniable evidence supporting these beliefs? Or could they be just one interpretation? And how many other interpretations can we notice? For instance, if a belief that you hold about yourself is that you are not creative, take time to remember instances when you were indeed creative, when you solved a problem in an unconventional way or crafted something unique. This process isn't about dismissing your beliefs outright, but rather about examining them with curiosity and openness. It's about considering alternative narratives and actively looking for evidence that challenges these long-held ideas. Through this method, you gradually dismantle the barriers these beliefs have erected in your mind, paving the way for a liberated and creative expression of your true potential. This isn't just about changing what you think. It's about reframing and transforming how you engage with and perceive the world around you. Accessing Creativity. Unlock Your Inner Genius is available on Audible, in paperback, and ebook, wherever books are sold. Tune in next time for more Filmmaking Confidential. It is totally free to subscribe, and when you subscribe, you'll get upcoming new episodes automatically, and you'll have free access to all our past shows. The Filmmaking Confidential podcast is a production of Dakanga Audio and produced by myself and Ella Spencer. Our original theme music is composed by Kevin Robles. I'm Steve Balderson. Thanks for listening. Until next time, keep making, keep doing, keep going.